Until the Nixon administration, most crime was considered local, although there was a concerted effort to make crime definition uniform throughout the country. There still remain many differences in enforcement and policy, incarceration practices, etc. The biggest difference was between North and South as a result of the Civil War and various policies thereafter. But there were very few incarcerations until the drug war. And the drug war was not just a war against drugs. It was a war against the people. It was a war against the Constitution. It was a war against poverty. It was a war for control of the hearts and minds of the people and of a lot of the economy of the people. It also brought about probably the largest mass, what would you call it, corruption moray in the history of the world almost. J. Edgar Hoover in the 60s and 70s absolutely refused to take jurisdiction over drug crimes on the basis that it would corrupt too many of his agents. Well, we have seen over the last 4 decades that J. Edgar Hoover was right. There's been a hotbed of corruption in the government regarding drug crimes. I can remember a case that was part of the Operation Swordfish cases where I had a federal agent on the witness stand, and the case was about money laundering, and she was wearing a wire. And the testimony was my client counted out lots of money on the wiretap. And you could hear the money being counted by both the agent and the defendant. And the agent counted out $225,000. This was done in a hotel room in southeast Denver. The hotel room was 2 doors down from the elevator. So when the counting was done, the agent took the $225,000, put it in a case, walked 2 doors down to the elevator, got into the elevator, walked out of the elevator, out to the parking lot, opened the briefcase, and started counting in front of her partner. And you could hear her counting out the money. And when the money reached $200,000, it stopped. So the hearing comes up, and the witness is on the stand, and you hear her count out the money, and I say to the witness, what happened to the other $25,000? It was supposed to have been $250,000, and it was only $200,000. And she, with an innocent look on her face, no grin, no wink, no smirk or anything, told me, well, counselor, your client was stoned when he counted the money. Well, I've been around a lot of stoners in my career, an awful lot. And I have never met one that could lose $250,000 or $25,000 out of $250,000. They couldn't count $25,000 worth of cash. To me, it was ludicrous. The most infuriating thing about that was that the judge was willing to buy the story, and they're trained not to interfere and just take notice of it. But what really galled me was the fact that the prosecutor presented that testimony as though it were gospel and never questioned it. I think that is very wrong. That puts the prosecutor in the same category, in my estimation, as the corrupt drug agent. So just to jab them a wee bit, I filed a motion to impound the elevator and take it apart. And at a hearing on the motion, the judge says, well, why do you want to do this, Mr. Blue? And I said, well, I think there's $250,000, or there's $25,000 somewhere between the room and the elevator, or the room and the car, and the elevator is the only place that wasn't visible from the outside. So I want to take the elevator apart and see if I can find the $25,000. I lost that motion, but it was an interesting thing to do. And this is one of the things I want to delve into more carefully as this series goes on. I thank you for watching, and I really would like the audience to expand. So if you would, please recommend this to others and share it with others and get others to subscribe, because this is going to be a rather lengthy series about the corruption of the government, the corruption of the DEA, and how drug enforcement has sort of wrecked our country. I also would like some comments, because I think comments are very helpful on how I structure this thing, where I go from here. It's sort of ad lib. I don't write it out. I don't script it out. And it's a lot of it ad lib. But I can do a better job ad lib if I get more feedback from you people. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.